How much is my car accident injury case worth? Hi, I'm attorney John Sheehan. Since 1993, I've represented thousands of injured workers and car accident victims throughout Massachusetts. I fight to make sure that each client receives all the compensation and medical treatment that they're entitled to without getting taken advantage of by an insurance company. Well, that's a question I get asked every day by new clients calling our office seeking legal advice and representation if they've been injured in a car accident in Massachusetts due to someone else's fault. There is no quick and easy answer, and only your lawyer can give you advice as far as what your particular case is worth. But I can give you some basic information about what goes into the value, the settlement value of a car accident. First of all, there's two parts to a car accident injury claim: liability and damages. Liability is a technical legal term that simply means, in the context of a car accident, who is at fault or who is negligent. Your lawyer would have to do an investigation and build evidence, gather evidence to be able to prove that it was the other driver's fault, that the other driver was negligent, that the other driver was liable for the accident. And this evidence would include things like the police report, photographs at the scene of the accident, photographs of the vehicles involved in the accident that would show the severity of the impact, the points of contact, to be able to reconstruct exactly what happened, interviewing witnesses, obtaining witness statements to be able to support and provide evidence that the other driver was at fault, that the other driver was liable. Sometimes the other driver may claim that you were at fault, and in Massachusetts we have what's called a comparative negligence statute. And what that means is that you can still recover money compensation, money damages for your personal injury in a car accident, even if you were partly at fault, as long as your fault, your comparative negligence, is not more than 50%. If there's evidence that you might be partly at fault, or the insurance company for the other driver can make that argument, they might, in their evaluation of your car accident injury claim, reduce what they otherwise might have been willing and ready to offer by way of a settlement. They might reduce it by whatever percentage of comparative negligence or comparative fault they believe the evidence shows that you would have. How much damages is a question of what the special damages and general damages are. There are basically two types: there's special or economic damages and general and non-economic damages. Special or economic damages, those are simply things like medical bills, lost wages, things that are quantifiable, things that you can add up. General damages and non-economic damages, those are things like pain and suffering, scarring, disfigurement, perhaps loss of enjoyment of life, loss of the ability to engage in recreational activities that you did before the accident. Like what? Like playing sports, for example, maybe playing golf, playing basketball, maybe going to the gym. Maybe you were an avid exercise enthusiast and you like to lift weights, and now you can't do it to the degree that you did before. Or maybe you played a musical instrument that you can no longer do at the level that you did before the accident. Well, that's part of your damages, and that's something that could be compensable if there's evidence to prove that. How much your car accident injury case is worth is also controlled to a large degree on how much available insurance coverage there is. There's two types of coverage for automobile insurance policies as far as personal lines insurance, insurance that individuals buy for their cars. Massachusetts has compulsory and optional bodily injury limits. The compulsory limits in Massachusetts, and they've been this way for decades, is what we call 20/40. That means that the most that's available for one bodily injury claim in a car accident in Massachusetts with another individual is $20,000. That's the most that's available for the compulsory bodily injury claim, bodily injury limits. As far as other insurance, maybe the of the driver that caused the accident purchased optional insurance, additional coverage beyond the compulsory BI rates of 2040. Typically, we see those ranges on insurance policies range from what we call 50-75, 100-300, or 255. What that means is that if they had a 50-75 policy, for example, the most available coverage under that auto policy would be $50,000. If it was a 100-300, the most in available coverage would be $100,000. If it was a 255 or 250,000, 500,000 optional BI limits, the most that's available under that policy in this example is $250,000. Coverage amounts does not mean that's what your case is worth. Your case is worth based on the liability and what your damages are. But it's important to factor that in being able to assess how much your car accident injury claim is worth as far as a potential settlement. There is other insurance beyond the compulsory and optional bodily injury limits that could be available, such as, for example, uninsured or underinsured motorist benefits. If you purchased higher optional amounts for yourself that would protect you if you got seriously injured in a car accident due to someone else's fault, and either they did not have an active insurance policy, maybe they didn't have insurance at all if they're from another state that doesn't require auto insurance, or maybe the insurance for their car had been canceled. Or in the case of underinsured motorist benefits, that's coverage that you buy for yourself if you opt to purchase the optional coverage to protect you in the event that you're seriously injured by someone that's not adequately insured. In addition, there could be umbrella coverage that the at-fault driver purchased that protects them and provides them with coverage beyond the max limits that they have on their auto policy. And we typically would see in an umbrella policy that it could be $1 million or more in available coverage. If the at-fault driver was driving a commercial vehicle for commercial auto policies or commercial liability policies, it's very common that we see those limits be $1 million or more. Finally, another factor that has to be taken into account as far as how much you'd be able to receive net from any settlement of your car accident injury claim is, are there any liens that have to get paid from the settlement, such as liens that may be asserted by Mass Health, by Medicare. If you have private health insurance that paid for part of your medical treatment, they may have a lien, or under the policy may be called a right of reimbursement. In any event, it's money that is potentially owed back to them. So you see that it gets a little complicated as far as being able to determine how much your car accident injury claim is worth, and you really need to consult with your lawyer. If you've been injured recently in a Massachusetts car accident that due to someone else's fault, and you have questions about what your legal rights are, what compensation might be available to you, you can call me directly at the office or send me an email. Or if you prefer, you can visit my website where you'll find contact forms that you can fill out. I'd be happy to reach back and talk with you about your car accident, about your injury and the treatment and what's going on and what legal rights you may have and how I could be of help to you. And if you found the information in this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, click the bell icon to make sure that you get notifications of my future videos, and share this video with your friends and family.